As many of you know, the highest tier on my Patreon is allowed to commission a video from me, and as such, today we are doing a video suggested by Iffy Babes. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I hope you enjoy. Today's topic will be a comparison video discussing Naraku and Kirinmaru, and will include such topics as how strong they are, their personalities, and how they're implemented in the story, as well as the themes surrounding their character. Something to note is that we obviously only have a few glimpses of Kirinmaru, so this section will rely entirely on what we have seen so far. With that said, if you are enjoying the content on this channel, remember to leave a like on this video, and hey, did you know that less than 200% of the people watching this video are subscribed? Did I do it right? Am I a real YouTuber yet? Anyways, you can also check out the description down below for links to my Discord or Twitch if you want to be a bit more active in the community, or to my Patreon if you want to support the channel a bit extra, or even suggest your own video next month. With all that being said, let's get into the video. So the original idea for this video was who would win in a fight, and honestly, I think for the most part it would be pretty one-sided. Naraku throughout Inuyasha has never been a fantastically powerful demon. Like, yeah, he's strong, but he does spend most of the series in hiding or trying to trick people for a reason. He is a strategist, not a fighter. He typically can't deal with many threats on his own and is pretty fearful of those who can actually hurt him. He has a few not so great abilities as well as a few that are actually very powerful, so let's talk about a bunch of them right now. Naraku can transform and change his appearance into anyone that he wants. He can curse people, create barriers, regenerate, use demon puppets, can absorb demons, and most importantly, he can spread miasma. Kirinmaru, on the other hand, has a much more straightforward set of skills, including things like incredible speed and power, flight, and what seems to be his bread and butter ability, a shockwave that pushes back anything around him. Despite this, he is more than capable of holding his own. And even though Naraku has many more options than Kirinmaru does, I think that for the most part, he still wouldn't really stand a chance against Kirinmaru. For this, we're going to assume that it's Naraku without the completed jewel, as comparing a final form versus a base form feels kinda weird to me. Not that I think it would make a huge difference either way, and Kirinmaru is only going to get stronger from this point on anyways. The biggest factor in deciding this, though, would be in how effective Naraku's miasma would be against Kirinmaru. We've seen Sesshomaru do okay in it, but he also has poison abilities, so it's kinda hard to say how Kirinmaru would fare in it. Speaking of Sesshomaru though, pre-Bakusaiga, Sesshomaru was typically stronger than Naraku in terms of offense, although after absorbing Moriomaru, Naraku's armor could defend against Sesshomaru decently well. But once the Bakusaiga was in the picture, Naraku wasn't doing all that much, you know? Meanwhile, Kirinmaru is out here casually swinging against Sesshomaru with little to no effort. I think the idea of him being much stronger than Sesshomaru is actually on the table, considering Sesshomaru hides Inuyasha away to protect him, rather than just trying to stop Kirinmaru himself. However, what is more important in discussing these two is how their methods of fighting, or taking on opponents, play into the themes around their characters. Naraku is famously a sneaky bastard. He loves betrayal and making schemes. He likes making people suffer and using them, and as such we see him using things like miasma, shapeshifting, and barriers, keeping himself safe while using tricks and poison to overcome his opponents. And when that fails, he will manipulate others to go in his place. Kirinmaru, on the other hand, is all about honor and he hates deception. He doesn't rely on tricks or poison, and he only really needs his own strength. In contrast to Naraku poisoning and cursing people, Kirinmaru actively sends medicine to his enemies when they're injured to ensure that they can have a fair fight. He respects and cares for those who he considers a rival. What's interesting to me is how these two are diametrically opposed from one another. So many elements of Yashahime act in repetition to establish themes of Inuyasha, and yet the main antagonist functions in direct opposition to Naraku. It presents Kirinmaru in a light that we haven't really seen very often in the series. I would say the closest we have to him for an antagonist character throughout the series is ironically Sesshomaru. Specifically, it makes me think of the scene where Inuyasha is going berserk, and Sesshomaru doesn't want to kill him because he isn't even a demon at this point, just some kind of wild animal. While not a direct parallel, it does represent the idea of not attacking those who are in a weakened or delusional state, which is something I really latched onto. I think a lot of this also comes from who these characters are. Naraku comes from a man named Onigumo, a bandit who would do anything for his greed, and conversely, Kirinmaru, much like Toga and Sesshomaru, is some kind of nobility. He's a lord, and as such he presents himself in a lordly fashion, and this continues for those who work for them, with Naraku's incarnations all effectively being slaves who are forced to do as he pleases, or he will squash their hearts in his hand or reabsorb them, which is why we see characters like Hakudoshi, Muso, or Kagura all actively taking actions to betray or kill Naraku. In fact, the only one who really doesn't stand against him for the most part is Kana, who for most of the series is without emotions anyways. And yes, maybe some of the more irrelevant incarnations didn't try and betray him, but they weren't around very long for it to matter anyways. On the other hand, we have Kirinmaru's Four Perils, who for the most part totally respect him. The only exception really being Kyuki, who recognizes how powerful he is and fears him, and is trying to usurp him. And you might be asking what the difference between usurpation and betrayal is, and I would say it's about the same as murder and assassination. It all has to do with the rank and the status of the person. It's the kind of shit that only lords, ladies, kings, and queens really have to deal with, you know? And not something that a bandit like Oniguma would ever face, even if he did end up impersonating a lord himself. Finally, we have their role in the story. Naraku is an active force in the story. He has hurt everyone, and as a result, people are acting to get revenge or to stop him. Kirinmaru, on the other hand, is more worried about his own life than he is about manipulating others. He's fearful of the prophecy of how he will die, and he acts in reaction to that. But he's also not brutal about it. If he fights someone and he doesn't see them as a threat, he tends to not worry about them being on the loose. We saw this with both Inuyasha and the three kids. Similarly, a weakened Toga was sent medicine so that he would be healed. There was no point in killing them in that state. And I really love how Kirinmaru acts as such a reflection of Naraku, showing us the opposite of everything he represented and of how he affected the story. And I think that's a really effective method of storytelling. But let me know what you guys think. Which one do you like better and why? Do you like their themes, their abilities, the people around them, or anything else? And on top of that, what do you think worked or doesn't work about these characters? Finally, which other characters do you think I should take a look at in the future? Who do you want to see me compare? Let me know in the comments down below. A big thank you to IffyBabes for supporting the channel, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as well as consider checking out the description down below for my Discord, Twitch, and Patreon. As always, a big thank you goes out to our patrons, the Dai Yokai Ikerochu, Jacob Wiley, and IffyBabes, our Yokai NL Cruz, Bloodwolfmon, Jamie Heck, Joker Rose, Lucifina Akuma, Sayo Arundel, and our Hanyo, Anthony Hogan, Brunette Thrasher, Kasim Salim, Love the Kiwi, Michael Grayco, Nega Kitty, Randy Moseyman, Samantha Olsen, Savage Camel, Simon Electric, and Kiwi Dog. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, remember to stay excellent.